I am actor Patrick Stewart of Yorkshire, X-Men, Star Trek, and Blunt Talk. Ask me anything. Good morning, Reddit. This is Patrick Stewart here to answer your questions. You may know me from X-Men, American Dad, Star Trek, or the Royal Shakespeare Company. You also may know me from my Twitter account at SirPatStew. I'm in a new show called Blunt Talk, which premieres this Saturday on Stars. If you're curious, you can watch the first episode here.
Before we start, be sure to like and subscribe to be the first to know about new videos. Comment your answer below.
How did it feel to carry the Olympic torch? Unbelievably exciting. Unbelievable because I never expected it would happen to me, and as an ex-athlete and huge fan of the Olympic Games, it was one of the best days of my life. And I ended the day taking home the torch, but I seem to have mislaid it. If anybody knows where it is, please let the @SirPatStew team know. Do you ever ride the subway in NYC? I'm pretty sure I saw you at Broadway Lafayette once. I've been telling people that I saw you. Is it possible? Am I a liar? Thanks. You are absolutely not a liar. I use the subway all the time, and in London, the Underground. Broadway Lafayette is one of my favorite stations. I knew it. Thank you for confirming my suspicion. What's the most accidentally funny thing you've done this week? Nothing I do is accidentally funny. It is all premeditated and carefully planned and scheduled. And if you steal one of my funny ideas, I will sue you. Is there any project other than acting you've ever wanted to venture into? Yes. Deep sea diving and mountaineering. There's something about going up and down that turns me on. Nice. I was sad to hear of Roger Rees's death in July. I know you worked with him many years ago in the RSC, and in Robin Hood, Men in Tights, of course. Could you share your favorite memory of him? Dear Roger Rees saw a preview of my one-man show, A Christmas Carol, and told me I shouldn't act Scrooge. I should simply be him because Scrooge already lived inside me. Your version of Scrooge is a must-watch for me every Christmas. Seriously, I've been lucky enough to see Sir Patrick perform A Christmas Carol on stage, and it was stunning. What would you advise to Daniel Radcliffe who'd like to play Shakespeare in theater? Then Daniel should do it wherever and whenever he can. But I warned him, he could get hooked and wave goodbye to a lovely film career. Well, if he's happy doing it, then it's a career switch worth doing in my opinion. He'd be a great Hamlet. Exactly, he's already worth $110 million. Do what you love. Yeah, I'd hate to see Daniel Radcliffe go before I've had my wish fulfilled, to see him play a megalomaniac genius young Bond villain that built an empire and has a wicked sick sense of humor and is completely merciless. He was so great in Horns. I never knew I wanted this, but now that I know, I need it. If you could find one rare artifact in the world, what would it be and who would you give it to? A Sonia Delaunay painting, which I would present to my wife for our imminent second wedding anniversary. Bad move. Imagine trying to top that on the third. Amateur mistake. First off, let me say that I really admire your work. You are so flawless as Professor Xavier and Picard, and so wholly charismatic and thoughtful in your acting. My question is whether you have done/would consider narrating audiobooks? I'm an audiobook junkie, and absolutely adore your voice. Thanks for the AMA. I have done, but many decades ago. I'm afraid it is too labor-intensive for the present state of my career. Maybe once I'm in retirement, perish the thought. My lord, which one? It could be about the history of paperclips and I'd wanna hear the whole thing. He did The Last Battle from the Chronicles of Narnia. Great work, and even gets into doing weird voices for different characters. One of the few must-ask questions for an Englishman. What is your favorite tea? Easy. Yorkshire Gold. Any other kind of tea bag needs 2 bags. By the way, did you know that I am the man who introduced the concept of the double tea bag to the United States? Don't you think that deserves some recognition, a Medal of Honor? An invitation to the White House? Or my own seat on the next space shuttle? Or my own seat on the next space shuttle? Only if they call it the Enterprise. If you had to have hair, what kind of hairstyle would you go with? A mullet. Hello, Sir Patrick. Looking forward to Blunt Talk premiering this week. What made you decide to take your first starring role in a comedy series like this? Because the invitation came from Seth MacFarlane and the writing and head of the creative team was executive producer and showrunner Jonathan Ames. Both brilliant, and Walter's colorful character is a delicious creation of Ames. Who's the better kisser, Ian McKellen or Conan O'Brien? What has been your favorite role to voice act? Actually, it's Alan Cumming. Deputy Director Avery Bullock on American Dad is my favorite role to voice act. Naturally, recapturing this fugitive is our top priority. Then we can track down the bastards that have been harboring it and punish them brutally. I mean, really brutally. Weird stuff. Butt stuff. Hilarious. How difficult was it to film this scene with Ricky Gervais for extras without the two of you dying of laughter? Also, have you ever thought of venturing into more comedic roles? Not difficult at all because the script was brilliant, but impossibly difficult because Ricky giggled all the time and spoiled so many takes. If you googled him and me, you would have already seen that. As for venturing into more comedic roles, see the link to my Facebook above to watch the first episode. Blunt Talk. Sir Patrick Stewart, I must say it's an honor to get the chance to speak with you. I was raised on The Next Generation, and I'd like to think the show imparted upon me a grand sense of imagination and wisdom. It's often stated that the Inner Light or the Cayman episode is one of your favorites. I was hoping you could briefly describe your feelings about that episode and what about it resonated with you? For the rest of my life, I'll distinctly remember the scene where you hugged the recorder after Riker leaves the room. Thank you for inspiring me, for teaching me so much through Jean-Luc. Well, the thing is, my favorite episode is Inner Light. It was a beautiful script, which for me was almost entirely located away from the Enterprise and its crew. And because I was given the chance to perform what Picard would have been like if his life experience had been different. But another important reason is that I had a son in that episode who was played by my son, Daniel Stewart. And if you care to see how he has grown up, watch my new series Blunt Talk. What do you consider to be the most fun you have had in your acting career? Also, you are fantastic. Easy. First season of Blunt Talk. For the 12 weeks of shooting, I remember nothing except laughing, which is a nice way to get through a working day, especially if it's 14 hours. Everyone in our cast is a comedian, or comedienne. They're funny on screen and they're funny off, which accounts for my comment about laughing. There's not much laughter when you're performing King Lear or Macbeth. Hello Sir Patrick. I am a young actor who is currently engaged as Henry V, having developed a love for Shakespeare in the last few years. As a man who has had a long career as a film and stage performer, do you have any advice on making the transition between film and stage? Thank you so much for the wonderful entertainment over the years. You're a lucky man to be playing Henry V. I played it in Manchester, England in 1963. How many of you saw it? If you're transitioning from film to stage, there's only one piece of advice: find a great voice coach. Thanks so much. It's definitely a dream role, and the space we do it in is a recreation of Blackfriars Playhouse. Thanks for the advice. After this contract I'm headed to NYC and seeing what happens there. Sup Sir Patrick. What are some things on your bucket list? My father retired from the military as Regimental Sergeant Major of the British Parachute Regiment. He jumped into action 3 times. I don't care for the action part of it, but I would love to experience what he did of jumping and parachuting safely to the ground.
You have been visited by Sad Cat. Like this video and subscribe to the channel to make Sad Cat happy again.